Is vacation rental properties a good idea, a good investment, or not? We're going to talk about it. Okay, guys, this is a great question. Is vacation rental properties a good investment? Really appreciate the question. We're going to talk about it. If you've got a question you'd like to have me answer, type it in the comments below, and I'll put a video together just like this for you and for all my other subscribers. If you're not a subscriber, please consider. So vacation properties are investments, but you've got to think of them quite a bit differently. You're really running a business. You're not really investing in real estate. Now, yes, there's an investment in real estate, but you are in an experiential business. You live or die off reviews. The better the reviews, the more bookings you're going to get, the more you can raise that price, or the more you can keep it occupied. It really comes down to reviews. So you're really running an experience. It's experiential. So you want to make sure that you're getting those great reviews. And so you're doing some things differently. First and foremost, with nightly rentals, you've got to make sure that your property is zoned for nightly rentals. Now, you don't necessarily have to own the property. There's lots of people that will lease a property and they then will do nightly rentals, Airbnb, VRBO, but it's got to be in an area that the zoning allows for those nightly rentals. Now, some cities crack down, some not as much, but you've got to be very careful with that because you don't want to spend a bunch of money furnishing a property to come to find out that you're going to get kicked out and have an issue with it, or heaven forbid buying a property to later figure out that you can't rent this property out. I've heard lots of people doing this and getting themselves in trouble. I also know some people that have gotten felonies because of this, because some states have really cracked down on it. So just be really careful with that. So that's the first thing we're talking about vacation properties, is making sure it's zoned for that. You're not going to have any problems getting a license for you to do nightly rentals. But the next thing comes down to this whole experiential thing. You're wanting to create an experience, which means when somebody's walking in, you've got some sparkling cider, or you've got something there for them. You've got a nice note. You've got a booklet that tells them the great things they can do around there. It obviously needs to be clean, fresh linens, and those things. So you want it to be a great experience. And so part of that is saying, we have 5,000 count cotton linens on the beds, and we've got really nice towels and that type of stuff. You've got to spend money in furnishing that property. Now, in return for that, you should be getting great reviews, and you should be working on getting great reviews. But it's quite a bit different because it's really more about running a business than it is about owning the real estate. Now, the real estate is the vehicle with all this, but it's really running a business, which is more hands-on, which takes more time. You've got to answer questions when people have them on VRBO. You've got to make sure that you're responding to them. You've got to take care of bookings. You also need to have a team in place that's going to help with cleaning the property, cleaning all the sheets and those types of things, and quality control to make sure when somebody shows up, the place is looking spotless and immaculate. If you think about it, when people go to a hotel, they want to make sure it's clean, they want to make sure it's nice, and then what you're doing is making them some niceties of having some coffee there for them, some coffee packets, or making sure you have some sparkling cider, or making sure you have a packet there that talks about everything that's in the property. The reason why I go into this much detail, and by the way, if you're liking this detail, please hit that thumbs up button and consider subscribing. But the reason I'm going to this much detail is there's a lot to running a vacation rental property that's more than just a traditional landlording experience. You see, when I rent to a traditional landlording experience, I'm putting somebody in the property, I really don't hear from them for a year or 3 months or 5 months or whatever the case is. The house pretty well takes care of itself, and they're responsible for taking care of it. Whereas in the vacation rental, if somebody's there, they want to be able to call if something breaks down and somebody needs to go out of the property, and you've got the turnover every couple of weeks or every few days potentially with some of your vacation rentals. But the difference is you can make so much more money doing it because you're renting on a nightly basis rather than renting on a long-term 1-year contract. So there's more money to be had there, but there's a lot more hassle that goes into that. So can it be done? Absolutely. Can you make great money doing that? Yes. But you've got to keep in mind that you're in the experiential, you're running a business, and you're having to deal with the cleaning, the maintenance, and being on call for those things, as well as making sure you're answering for responses because, like I said before, you live and die by reviews when you're in the vacation rental business. So there's pros and cons to this. it is a lot more work than I think it's made out to be, but there are some ways that you can make this work quite a bit easier on yourself. So for example, there are communities like the ones that I've got a buddy that owns a property, and it's in a vacation community, and basically what happens is he takes care of the booking, but they have a front desk type area. It's a house, but they have an area where someone can check in, and that company takes care, if he wants them to, takes care of cleaning it, doing the maintenance on it, doing the check-in and check-out, so he doesn't have to deal with any of those things. And so if you can find a house that's in a community like that, that can be golden for a vacation rental, because then at that point, you're just dealing with the bookings on the VRBO and answering the questions, but the check-in, check-out, making sure it's clean, making sure it's nice, the quality control is all handled. Now, it is expensive to do that. Lots of times they're going to charge 30 to 50% of whatever that nightly rental rate is in order for them to do that for you, but it can make it a lot better because you're only dealing with the bookings or the non-bookings. So there's a lot to think about when it comes to vacation properties. One of the other things you can think about is how much you're going to be using it. And I want to talk about that, but before I do, a tool that might be really helpful for you is our rental calculator. It helps you calculate if something's a good rental or not so good of a rental. It helps you equalize, is this rental better than this rental? How do you know that? Where it really comes down to netting things out. And so I've got a calculator that does all that for you. You can get it absolutely for free. Just text me at 435-294-0433, 435-294-0433. Get a copy of my, you can then get a copy of my rental calculator. But how much do you use the property? So this can be a pro and con. In lots of these types of places, vacation rentals, there's on season, off season, peak season, those types of things. So if there's a property that you want to buy and you like that community and you think the property can go up in value and you plan to use that property, especially if you can use that property when it's not peak seasons, when it's off market times, that can be an ideal type investment if it's already zoned for your nightly rentals, and then you've got a community there that can help with those rentals for you, and you have to take care of the bookings alone. That could be a great opportunity for somebody. You're kind of mixing both the investment as along with the business and making it quite a bit easier on you, which can make things more profitable as you're dealing with it. I've got a whole blog on this, which is long-term versus short-term rentals. You're going to want to check out that blog post. It goes into more detail if you're considering doing long-term versus short-term investments. They can be fantastic investments if it's the right property, if it's done right, but it is higher management in most cases, and you've just got to get yourself prepared for that. And you also have additional expenses, right? Some of those additional expenses that you have is the furniture. When you're doing that nightly vacation rental, you're responsible for the beds, you're responsible for the linens, you're responsible for the making sure that the towels are nice, you're responsible for the crock pot and the coffee maker, and those things break. And those things have problems, not a lot, but you have to provide that type of stuff and keep up the quality on those types of things. So there's some additional initial investment that goes in with that. But there are a lot of people that like the vacation rentals because they will rent a property and sublease it as a vacation rental, which can help them get into real estate at a pretty low amount, and they only have to come up with the money to furnish the property, which can work out really well. As long as, again, you're in the experiential business and you want to make sure everybody has a great experience. Now, along with that, I've got a video that's on rental property reserves. Basically talks about how much reserves you need to have as you're dealing with rental properties. It more goes along with long-term rentals, but it also applies to vacation rentals. I'm going to put that on the screen so you can check that one out as well. So vacation properties come down to how much time management you want to be dealing with. If you don't want to deal with the time, you can hire a company to do that, but they're going to take a substantial amount of that nightly rate, and then you have to run the calculations, use that rental calculator that you can get a copy of, and see if it's worth it with that hefty fee coming out of it. If it's not worth it, or if it's borderline, you've got to consider how much you're going to be using the property for, and how much you'd like that property for your own usage, and also how good of a deal you're buying, and how much you think it'll go up in value over time as well. So there's a whole lot to think about when you're talking about vacation rental properties. Now, if you're interested in finding these types of properties off market, meaning going direct to seller to find properties that could be good vacation properties, we have a software called Investor's Edge software. I think you should check it out. If you want to, check us out over at dohardmoney.com. We provide money, we provide tools, resources, helping you finding properties, and so much more. Otherwise, make it a very profitable day, and bye for now.